Hello, my name is Samantha,
And my name is Sheilly.
and our presentation today is on what is wildlife tourism and how does it affect its community. So, what is wildlife tourism? Wildlife tourism is traveling to have unique experiences with wildlife and the nature surrounding it. And we have seen this in multiple different ways. For examples, we see this in the savannas doing safaris, such as in Africa. We also see this in the form of scuba diving or snorkeling in the coral reefs, such as places in Australia. We see this in whale watching or cruises straight off our coast, such as in Long Beach or San Diego. And we also see this in our national parks, such as Yosemite. So, what is the reasoning for this? Wildlife tourism is a way to get people to connect with nature and hopefully allow them to have a better appreciation for nature and animals. It is also a way to help local communities benefit from the increase in tourism. From the research we have done, there has seemed to be an increase in money from tourism into the countries. But this also increased the foot traffic into these natural places, which can cause short and long term effects on locals as well as the wildlife around them. So, some concerns that wildlife tourism are trying to fight against are deforestation and poaching. Both whittle populations down to extinction, but some communities do not see another way since they live off the land. Sorry. Being able to travel and have such close interactions with animals have created an increase in conservation care. More people want to travel, and this starts to talk on how these animals need protection. Locals have also been positively affected by conservation efforts. They have now seen how they can cohabitate with animals and nature and not only care for them but also protect them from deforestation and poaching. Some conservation efforts create a way for locals and wildlife to live together through wildlife tourism, but not all communities have benefited as much. There are negative effects to wildlife tourism that have caused an effect to the community and wildlife itself.
Some issues presented are the rise of pollution as tourism grows, not only waste and noise pollution, but also the carbon footprint. This not only affects locals, but also disrupts the animals. For example, in Ranthambore National Park in India, the local perceptions regarding the ecological impacts of tourism are largely mixed. Many residents are aware and concerned about the adverse impacts of growing tourism. In 1996 alone, Suriska Tiger Reserve in India had 27,000 tourists, of whom 40% were of foreign origin. There is a mixed sentiment about social-cultural impacts. Socio-cultural impacts of tourism include the changes in the lives of the local population, their culture, art, customs and rituals, and traditional lifestyle. The two main negative socio-cultural impacts of tourism perceived by the local population in India are erosion of faith among villagers and an adverse impact on the lifestyle of the local youth. Despite being the indigenous community, the residents feel that they have become the outsiders in this process. In a developing country like India, biodiversity conservation in protected areas is without a doubt linked with the livelihood of millions of local people who attain direct and indirect benefits from them. Locals also see the economic impacts of tourism, which they hold responsible for price inflation and growing income inequality in the region. For example, in Suriska Tiger Reserve, tour guides, safari, and hotel operators take a larger share of the benefits from tourism than the local people. This unequal distribution of benefits causes conflict and resentment against the local communities. Not only does this affect the community, but also the animals. The presence of tourists can possibly cause injury, diseases, and distress for these animals. For example, loud noises and close encounters can also contribute to the disruption of their natural behaviors and breeding patterns, ultimately resulting in a decline in the animal's health and possible death, which undermines the conservation goal. There is also an added danger going into the habitat of animals. Although most animals are scared of us, They are also very dangerous and react fast, putting tourists in danger if exploring does go wrong.
There has seemed to be some countries that have benefited and been using wildlife tourism. In places like South Africa, there is a blend of culture and wildlife focused tourism. They also place restrictions on tourism development while also offering opportunities to adjacent communities. Although wildlife tourism is based on the nature's appeal, it also creates an emphasis on the culture and community. When optimizing the inclusion of the community and culture, combining it with conservation values and development, it is shown this enables the support and achievement of both conservation and community development by tourism. There are also other ways that people on the in the without places like Australia are offering hologram zoos, and with technology today, more and more options are available to have a hands-on experience with animals without distributing. There are also many other options, such as live video footage from either their natural habitat or from zoos across the world. Although controversial, zoos can be a great alternative to have an animal experience with advocate animals spreading. There are many local zoos like LA Zoo and San Diego Zoo which have great efforts to help conservation too. This shows that if done correctly, communities can benefit. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.